So today we shall start with next topic of fourth unit, that is indirect TCP. So this indirect TCP is one of the classical improvement made in TCP, right? So what does this indirect TCP indicate? So generally direct means it is a direct communication, that means from face to face communication. So indirect, what is meant by indirect? That means a person. So if we say that if it is a direct communication, we are going to say that the communication is happening in between two persons. If it is a indirect communication, what does that indicate? Means it is happening with the help of a mediator. The same concept also applies here, right? So here if we assume that, so not an assumption, here if we take, if two hosts want to communicate, so generally for communication we need to have two nodes. One is called as a mobile host and second one is called as a correspondent host. Okay, so for this host, when mobile host want to communicate with the correspondent host, what happens in indirect TCP? So what's happening is, so here we are making that being a concept of indirect TCP, we are going to take this entire connection into two parts. This is the first thing. Okay, so first one is wireless TCP and second one is standard TCP. Okay, so what happens with this? Why we are making this connection into two parts? Being an indirect TCP, in order for the two nodes to get communicated over the network, we are dividing the connection into two parts. One is wireless and second one is standard. So where we are using this wireless TCP? So from mobile host to some router or access point, whatever the thing it is, we are using wireless TCP. In order to connect with the standard computer, we will be using this wide internet. That means this is a standard TCP. Okay, so this is the first assumption we are going to make in indirect TCP. So here we will be having two connections, one is wireless and second one is standard TCP. Wireless TCP is used in between mobile host and foreign agent, and standard TCP is used in between correspondent host and access point, nothing but a foreign agent. Okay, so this is a first step. And second step, what we are going to do is, so once the connection is established, we need to transfer data over the network. So what happens in this data transfer phase? So what happens is, so when mobile host wants to send some data to the correspondent host, what happens? This mobile host will simply send the data into the network. So this data will be received by the access point. Okay, so what does this access point do is, whenever it gets some data, immediately this will send some acknowledgement to the mobile host. Clearly remember this, when mobile host want to send some data to the correspondent host, if it sends some data to the foreign agent or else whatever the mediator it is in the network, it will immediately, whenever the data is reached, it is going to send the acknowledgement to the mobile host. Okay, rather than transferring it to the correspondent host. Okay, so now what it is going to do is, after sending acknowledgement to the mobile host, it will start transferring data to the correspondent host. So being a indirect TCP, being having a two connections, this access point is going to act as a proxy. So proxy means what? So it is going to provide you some security, and this proxy will be used for data transfer. Okay, so one thing is, mobile host wants to send some data to the correspondent host, the data will be buffered here. Okay, when mobile host wants to send some data to the correspondent host, being an access point, here the data is buffered. So on successful receiving of data from the mobile host, it is going to send acknowledgement to the mobile host. After that, this will start transferring data to the correspondent host. So this is a data transfer phase happening in indirect TCP. So right, again what happened, if correspondent host wants to transfer some data to the mobile host. What happens? This will send some data using the standard TCP, okay? So, and immediately this will return again the acknowledgement, and after sending the acknowledgement, this data will be sent to the mobile host. So, simply this is the case that is happening in the indirect TCP. So, now if the data is successfully transferred over the network, it is okay for us. But if the data is not successfully transferred over the network, what happens? Or some other error has been occurred in the network, what it needs to do, right? So this is a case where we need to make clear, right? So what happens is, if while transferring the data from mobile host to the foreign agent, if the data is lost in the network, immediately this mobile host can recognize that and it can retransmit the data. Because in standard TCP we do have certain mechanisms like slow start, fast transmit or recovery. So this will not be working on wireless TCP. This will be working on standard TCP. So when the data is lost on the network in wireless links, it is very hard to read. Very hard to know. And also when it has if it has a less RTT time, it can be easily verifiable that data is lost in the network. But what happens with the case of standard TCP? So if this case occurs in standard TCP, what happens is, initially by using either slow start mechanism or retransmission or fast recovery or retransmit, immediately the loss of data or error in the link will be identified by the standard internet itself. So this standard internet will again retransmit the whatever the data that is sent by the correspondent host, it will be automatically retransmitted to the access point. Okay, so this is how the errors will be handled. Okay, so now what happens? So if these are the two cases, another case is, assume that this mobile host has been moved from one. This is the first case and this is the second case, and third case is when mobile host being a wireless link, if it moves from one foreign agent to another foreign agent, how it is going to transfer the data? How it's been possible means, so I assume that here you have a different access point. So assume that this is FA2. Okay. So now what happens is, whenever this mobile host moves to other network, okay, so this is in this network, and the same diagram will be repeated here. So I will give you the notes as well. So if this, okay, so immediately the mobile host has moved from access point 1 to access point 2. Okay, so what happens there? What happens means, whatever the data that is present with the foreign agent, the complete data needs to be transferred to the foreign agent too. When it knows that it has transferred means, whenever it is transferring the data to the mobile host, sometimes it will not be available. At that moment, it verifies that whether the mobile host is in its network or not. If the mobile host is not in its network, again it needs to verify who the foreign agent is. And being already we have said that this is going to act as a proxy, and also it has a concept of buffering. So because of the capacity of buffering, it is going to send this entire data to the FA2. Now this FA2 will start transferring data to the mobile host. Okay, so this is what the case happening with the data transfer. So we will be having three cases. One is whenever mobile host wants to transfer some data to the correspondent host, and second one is correspondent host wants to send some data to the mobile host, and third thing is what happens is the mobile host moves from one foreign agent to another foreign agent. So simple concept is, this access point is going to act as a proxy, and with this proxy the data is getting buffered. So immediately after getting data from this, it is going to send the acknowledgement. Okay, so after getting the acknowledgement, it will start transferring the data. If any data is lost over this mechanism or anything will happen, that needs to be taken care by the foreign agent itself. no mobile host or no correspondent host will activate in this, because already the foreign agent has given acknowledgement that the data has been completely transferred. Then what this mobile host and correspondent host thinks, that data has already successfully transmitted over the network to the particular destination. Okay, so because of that, whenever some data has been lost in the network, that should be taken care by the foreign agent only, or else the access point only. So this is a concept that lies in the indirect TCP. Next, coming to the advantages and disadvantages. So right, so what happens with the what are the advantages and disadvantages of ITCP? So the main advantages of this ITCP are, there is no change in ITCP. Why? Because whether in standard TCP we do have certain mechanisms like slow start, fast recovery or retransmit. These are all the congestion control mechanisms. So there we can retrieve the data and retransmit the data without causing any errors in the network. So in the same way, as there is a proxy and the concept of buffering, even though we are going to use the indirect TCP, there is no change in standard TCP. So this is one of, as there is a error recovery mechanism, error recovery of data in the network. So this is one of the advantage in standard TCP. And next, coming to the second advantage, only packets with sequence data are transferred. Why? Because TCP allows with the packets with sequence number. That means it needs to identify what are the packets that are transferred till now and what needs to get acknowledged. So what are the packets? So here, after getting the acknowledgement only, the next data gets transferred over the network. So in the same way, only the packets that are present in sequence transmission gets transferred over the network. And third thing is, whenever these new concepts, so here we are discussing indirect TCP. In the next concepts, we will be discussing mobile TCP and snooping TCP. So if these gets introduced into the network to the standard TCP, the entire infrastructure doesn't needs to change. And at the same time, this will cause some changes in the standard network. So by using this, by introducing these new mechanisms in the network, it may cause some damage in the network. Okay, and fourth one is, here the partition of the connection take place. Why? Because this is an advantage. Why? Because if this is a wireless TCP, it will be using different protocols, and this is a wired TCP, this is going to use different protocols. So this foreign agent is going to act as a gateway. Okay, so what is the responsibility of gateway? The responsibility of gateway is to convert the data of one protocol suite to another protocol suite. That means two different protocols need to communicate with each other. Okay, so at the same time, foreign agent is going to act as a proxy and also as a gateway. So this will be one of the advantage of ITCP, because not only one protocol, two different protocols can communicate over the network. Irrespective of these advantages, we do have some disadvantages. So the main concept in TCP is reliable data transfer. So reliable indicates that the data needs to be reached to the destination in a perfect way, right? And it needs to maintain end-to-end semantics. So see here, is there any end-to-end semantics? That means only single line of connection? No. Here we are dividing the connection into two parts. One as a wireless TCP and second one as a wired TCP. And second one is increases handover latency. Why this handover latency? What is meant by latency? So latency means delay. Okay, why this has been increased over the network? Why? Because so if this mobile host moves from foreign agent to 1 to foreign agent 2, what happens? Whatever the data that is not transferred here, the data needs to first get transferred to the FA2. Then only from this FA2, this will be transferred to the mobile host. At the same time, if it needs to transfer the connections, and also at the same time it needs to transfer the untransferred data of mobile host to the foreign agent. That means connection and data both needs to get transferred to the foreign agent. It increases the delay in the network. So that is one of the disadvantage. And third disadvantage is if this foreign agent is a compromised node. So if this foreign agent gets compromised, what happens? So if it gets compromised, there is no concept of security. All the data breaches can occur. That means all the data can be easily crashed, right? So the main thing is we need to choose this foreign agent as a trusted entity. So right, these are the advantages and disadvantages of indirect TCP. Thank you.